This is a story that chills you to the bone, a narrative of unimaginable endurance. It is a testament to the human spirit's capacity for survival against the darkest of evils. We call it the Silence Broken. This account offers a harrowing glimpse into an ordeal that defied belief, a nightmare lived out in the shadows of a quiet neighborhood. It focuses on one woman's incredible journey through hell and back. Her name is Michelle Knight. Her story is etched into the annals of true crime, a stark reminder of the monsters that can lurk unseen. This is a real-life case, one that unfolded in the United States in 2013. I was there from the beginning, a member of the task force assigned to this extraordinary case. My perspective is rooted in the grim reality we uncovered, the facts that emerged from the depths of a Cleveland home. What you are about to hear is not just a recounting of events. It is an attempt to convey the profound impact of a decade of captivity, seen through the eyes of those who work to bring justice. The call came in, unexpected and urgent, shattering the routine of a quiet Monday evening. It was May 6, 2013, a date forever seared into the memory of every officer involved. The dispatcher's voice was calm, but the words she relayed were anything but. 3 missing women, found alive. The news spread like wildfire through the department, igniting a flicker of hope we hadn't dared to entertain. This was the kind of call that changes everything. The discovery location was a nondescript house on Seymour Avenue in Cleveland, Ohio. From the outside, it looked like any other suburban home, but within its walls, unspeakable horrors had been unfolding for years. One of the women had been missing for over a decade, a cold case that had long since faded from the headlines. Her reappearance, along with 2 others, signaled something far more sinister than a simple runaway. I was on the task force from day one, assigned to piece together the fragments of a nightmare. We knew immediately this was no ordinary rescue. It was the uncovering of a living tomb. The initial reports were chaotic, a mix of relief and profound shock. We were dealing with victims who had been held captive for years, their lives stolen, their identities suppressed. The gravity of the situation was immense. Our first priority was their safety, then understanding the full scope of their ordeal. The house itself became a crime scene of unparalleled significance, each room holding a piece of a terrifying puzzle. Michelle Knight vanished on August 23, 2002. She was just 21 years old, a young mother with a life ahead of her. Her disappearance, however, was initially met with a chilling indifference. Law enforcement at the time dismissed her case with a disheartening swiftness. There was no Amber Alert, no widespread search, no public outcry. It was a tragic oversight that would haunt us for years. Most believed she had simply run away, a common assumption for young adults who disappear without a trace. This perception was fueled by a lack of immediate evidence and a tragic misjudgment of her circumstances. Her family's pleas for help often fell on deaf ears, their anguish compounded by the official narrative. They knew Michelle, and they knew she wouldn't simply abandon her child. The truth, as we would later uncover, was far more sinister than anyone could have imagined. Michelle Knight had not run away. She had been taken, swallowed whole by a darkness that operated in plain sight. Her absence became a silent testament to a crime that went uninvestigated, a life that was presumed lost to choice rather than force. This initial perception allowed her captor to continue his reign of terror unimpeded. It was a stark reminder of how easily victims can be overlooked, how quickly their stories can be dismissed. Michelle's case highlighted the critical need for every missing person report to be taken seriously, regardless of initial assumptions. Michelle's abduction was a cruel twist of fate, a moment of vulnerability exploited by a predator. She was lured by a deceptive promise, a seemingly innocent gesture that masked a monstrous intent. The promise involved a puppy, a simple appeal to her compassionate nature. She was on her way to a custody hearing for her son, a moment of immense stress, when she encountered Ariel Castro. Castro, a seemingly ordinary school bus driver, offered her a ride. He presented himself as a helpful neighbor, someone she could trust in a moment of need. This facade was his most potent weapon. Once inside his vehicle, the trap was sprung. Michelle was taken to his house on Seymour Avenue, a place that would become her prison for the next 11 years. The door closed behind her, sealing her fate. She was trapped in the clutches of Ariel Castro, a man who would systematically strip her of her dignity, her freedom, and nearly her life. His house became a fortress of torment, hidden in plain sight. Castro subjected her to years of unimaginable abuse, a relentless campaign of physical, emotional, and sexual violence. Her existence became a cycle of terror, isolation, and despair. The initial deception was just the beginning of a long, brutal nightmare. Michelle's abduction was not random. It was a calculated act by a predator who had perfected his methods of ensnaring victims. From the moment she entered that house, Michelle's life became a living hell. She was chained in the basement, a dark, cold space that served as her initial cell. The chains were a constant, brutal reminder of her captivity. She was subjected to relentless beatings, her body becoming a canvas of her captor's rage. These assaults were not random. They were systematic, designed to break her spirit and enforce absolute control. Perhaps one of the most horrific aspects of her ordeal was being forced into multiple miscarriages. Each pregnancy, a fleeting hope, was brutally terminated by Castro's violence, a deliberate act of cruelty. Michelle endured the most suffering among the victims held captive in that house. She was the first to be taken, and for years, she was the only one, bearing the full, undivided brunt of Castro's depravity. Her isolation during those initial years was absolute, a profound loneliness compounded by constant terror. She had no one to share her burden, no one to witness her pain. She bore the brunt of Castro's violence, becoming the primary target of his sadistic impulses. His control over her was total, her life reduced to a cycle of abuse and survival. The physical and psychological scars she carried were immense, a testament to the unspeakable acts committed against her. Her resilience in the face of such sustained torment is almost incomprehensible. Michelle's story is a stark reminder of the depths of human cruelty and the incredible strength required to survive it. Her suffering was a silent scream, unheard for far too long. Castro's house was not merely a home. It was a meticulously constructed prison, designed to conceal and control. Every detail served the purpose of maintaining his horrific secret. The doors were locked from the outside, secured with multiple deadbolts and chains. This ensured that escape was impossible, trapping his victims within the confines of their nightmare. Windows were boarded up, not just for privacy, but to prevent any glimpse of the outside world. They were also soundproofed, muffling any cries for help that might have escaped the walls. The house was a world built for secrecy and control, a self-contained universe where Castro was the absolute ruler. It was a place of constant surveillance, where every movement was monitored. Rooms were modified, some with additional locks, others with alarms. The layout was designed to disorient and isolate, preventing any communication or collaboration among the captives. The air inside was stale, heavy with the weight of despair and fear. It was a place devoid of natural light, a perpetual twilight that mirrored the darkness of their existence. This fortified environment allowed Castro to maintain his reign of terror for over a decade, hidden in plain sight within a residential neighborhood. The house itself was an accomplice to his crimes. Years into Michelle's captivity, Ariel Castro eventually kidnapped two more young women, Amanda Berry in 2003 and Gina DeJesus in 2004. Their arrival brought a new dynamic to the house, but not an end to the torment. They too endured unspeakable abuse, becoming fellow prisoners in Castro's private hell. Michelle, as the first captive, often bore the brunt of Castro's anger, especially when the others arrived. The three women were held in separate rooms for much of their captivity, further isolating them. Communication was often forbidden, and punishment was swift for any perceived transgression. The end of their captivity came on May 6, 2013, in a moment of desperate courage. Amanda Berry, seeing an opportunity, broke free from a locked door and called 911. Her voice, filled with terror and relief, alerted the world. Her desperate plea to the dispatcher, "I'm Amanda Berry. I've been on the news for 10 years," was the first crack in Castro's impenetrable facade. It was the sound of hope breaking through despair. This single act of bravery led to the unraveling of the entire horrific situation. Police arrived, and the full scope of Castro's depravity was finally brought to light. The rescue of Amanda, Gina, and Michelle sent shockwaves across the nation and the world. It was a moment of profound relief, but also a stark reminder of the hidden suffering that can exist behind closed doors. Michelle Knight spent 11 years in hell, a period of unimaginable suffering that would have broken most. Yet, when she emerged, there was a quiet strength about her that defied her ordeal. Her eyes, though calm, carried a storm behind them, a deep understanding of pain and survival. They held the weight of a decade of torment, yet also a flicker of indomitable spirit. She emerged from that house with a resilience that humbled everyone who encountered her. Her ability to stand, to speak, to simply exist after such trauma was nothing short of miraculous. Her story highlights the extraordinary resilience of the human spirit, its capacity to endure the most horrific circumstances and still find a path forward. It is a testament to an inner fortitude. Michelle's journey is a powerful testament to her ability to survive and emerge from despair, not unscathed, but unbroken. She chose to live, to reclaim her narrative, and to inspire others. She faced the world with a quiet dignity, refusing to be defined solely by her victimhood. Her focus shifted to healing, to rebuilding a life that had been stolen from her. Her courage in sharing her story, in speaking out about the horrors she endured, has provided invaluable insight for victim advocates and law enforcement alike. She became a voice for the voiceless. Michelle Knight's ordeal is a dark chapter, but her survival is a beacon of hope. It reminds us that even in the deepest shadows, the human spirit can find a way to shine. The Colleen Stan case stands as a chilling testament to the depths of human cruelty and the resilience of the human spirit. It serves as the dark inspiration for the unsettling narrative of The Room Without Windows. This story delves into the profound psychological manipulation experienced by Colleen, a manipulation so insidious it defies easy comprehension. Her ordeal highlights the enduring trauma she suffered, a shadow that would stretch far beyond the confines of her physical imprisonment. The case underscores the truly insidious nature of her captivity, where the chains were often invisible, forged in fear and deception. This harrowing account was later reviewed as part of a cold case psychological profile project, offering invaluable insights into the mechanics of coercive control. Colleen's nightmare began in the seemingly ordinary year of 1977. She was a young woman, simply hitchhiking to a friend's party, a common practice in an era of greater perceived innocence. She accepted a ride from a seemingly ordinary couple, a decision that would irrevocably alter the course of her life. Instead of reaching her intended destination, she was taken to their home, a place that would become her personal hell. There, she was held captive for an unimaginable 7 years, a period of time that stripped away her identity piece by agonizing piece. Her captor was Cameron Hooker, a man who would prove to be a master of psychological torment. He employed a brutal and systematic strategy of control, designed to utterly dismantle his victim's will. He meticulously isolated her from the outside world, severing every connection to her former life. This isolation was a deliberate act, intended to strip away her very sense of self, leaving her vulnerable and dependent. For the first 4 years of her captivity, Colleen was confined to a coffin-like box. This claustrophobic prison was hidden beneath their bed, a secret chamber of unspeakable horror. Within those dark confines, she was referred to only as the girl, a dehumanizing label that further eroded her identity. Hooker's methods were meticulously designed to break her spirit, to shatter her will to resist. He instilled in her a deep-seated fear of a fictitious organization, a shadowy entity he called the Company. He claimed this powerful group would harm her and her family if she ever attempted to escape or defy him. This elaborate deception was a cornerstone of his control, a constant threat looming over her every thought. He even forced her to sign a slave contract, a chilling document that solidified his perceived ownership and demanded her complete submission. This contract was a psychological anchor, binding her to his will. The brainwashing was so profoundly effective that Colleen was eventually allowed to visit her family, a seemingly impossible act of freedom. Yet, astonishingly, she willingly returned to her captors, demonstrating the terrifying depth of Hooker's manipulation. Her mind had become a prison more formidable than any physical restraint. The turning point in this horrific saga came when Hooker's wife, Janice, experienced a profound moral crisis. The weight of their shared secret, the daily horror of Colleen's captivity, became too much for her to bear. Janice ultimately found the courage to help Colleen escape, an act of defiance that risked everything. Janice then reported her husband to the authorities, finally exposing the monstrous truth. This courageous act of defiance allowed Colleen to reclaim her life, to step back into a world she had been denied for so long. It was the first step on a long, arduous journey toward healing. Today, Colleen Stan shares her story, speaking with remarkable strength about survival and the insidious nature of psychological coercion. Her voice is a beacon for others who have endured similar traumas. Her strength lies not just in her physical escape, but in her ability to reclaim her identity, her voice, and her future. She emphasizes a crucial truth. Escape can begin not with a physical flight, but with the liberation of the mind. Her journey is a powerful reminder that even in the darkest of circumstances, the human spirit possesses an extraordinary capacity for resilience and recovery. Her story continues to serve as a vital case study for understanding the complex dynamics of victimhood and survival. This is the chilling account of The Underground Girl. It is a story that plunges into the darkest corners of human depravity. This case draws its horrifying inspiration from the real-life atrocities of Elizabeth Fritzl. It is a narrative of unimaginable captivity and the enduring power of the human spirit. We will explore the depths of a nightmare that unfolded in plain sight. This story is told from the perspective of a Vienna-based investigator grappling with the unspeakable. The nightmare began to unravel with an unexpected appearance. A young woman, barely more than a teenager, walked into a hospital. Her name was Elizabeth. Her gaunt appearance and the haunted echo of her name immediately raised alarms. Something was profoundly wrong. This woman had been declared missing 24 years prior. Her sudden return marked the beginning of a true horror story. It was a story that would shock the world. The truth was far more sinister than anyone could have imagined. The investigators' first encounter with Elizabeth revealed a woman traumatized and broken. Her eyes held a terror that defied description. Her story was slowly, painstakingly pieced together. Each fragmented word unveiled the true extent of her suffering. The perpetrator was identified as her own father, Joseph. He had committed an unspeakable crime against his daughter. He had imprisoned her in a hidden cellar beneath their family home. This was not a temporary confinement. It was a living tomb. Her captivity lasted from the age of 18 to 42. 24 years of her life were stolen. She was subjected to years of relentless sexual abuse and absolute isolation. In that dark abyss, she was forced to bear 7 children. They were all fathered by her captor. These innocent lives were brought into a world of shadows. She raised them in the perpetual darkness of the cellar. They were deprived of sunlight and any knowledge of the outside world. Their existence was a secret, a horrifying testament to Joseph's control. The investigators' raid on the Amstetten home confirmed the horrifying reality. What they found defied belief. The ordinary facade of the house concealed an unspeakable secret. They discovered a hidden steel door, meticulously concealed behind a bookcase. It was a gateway to hell. This door led to a labyrinth of cramped underground rooms. The air was stale and heavy, thick with the stench of confinement. Mold crept up the walls, a testament to years of dampness and neglect. Children's drawings, faded and cracked, adorned the plaster. These crude images were a chilling record of lives lived in darkness. They were a silent testament to Joseph's meticulously crafted prison. It was a place designed to erase hope. The chilling contrast between the family home's ordinary facade and the unspeakable horrors beneath was stark. It was a testament to Joseph's cunning. He maintained a veneer of normalcy. Upon his arrest, Joseph kept a disturbingly composed face. There was no remorse, no visible sign of guilt. He seemed utterly detached from the enormity of his crimes. He revealed a disturbing sense of pride in his actions. It was a chilling display of arrogance. He believed he had done nothing wrong. He harbored a twisted belief that his actions were a form of protection. He saw himself as a guardian, not a monster. This delusion was as terrifying as his deeds. The trigger for Elizabeth's eventual escape was the failing health of one of her children. The child's condition deteriorated rapidly. This forced Joseph to act. He was compelled to seek medical attention for the gravely ill child. This desperate act was his undoing. It was a crack in his meticulously constructed world. The doctors grew suspicious of the child's unusual medical history. Their questions were persistent. Joseph's carefully guarded secret began to unravel. His desperate attempt to save a life inadvertently exposed his monstrous crime. The truth, long buried, finally saw the light of day. The nightmare was over. Elizabeth's courageous testimony secured Joseph's life sentence. Her words, spoken with immense bravery, brought justice. The world watched in horror and awe. Her story became a profound triumph over unimaginable adversity. It was a testament to her indomitable spirit. She had survived the unthinkable. This is the story of The Girl in the Shed, a title that barely scratches the surface of the horror it contains. It is a narrative inspired by the real and harrowing case of J.C. Dugard, a name etched into the annals of true crime. This is more than just a case study. It is a testament to the human spirit's unfathomable resilience. The nightmare began in 1991. An 11-year-old girl was abducted, snatched from the safety of her own life. Her disappearance occurred near her California home, a place that should have been a sanctuary. The immediate impact on the community was profound. Fear gripped every parent, every neighbor, as the unthinkable had become a terrifying reality. A missing persons investigation was launched, but it yielded little fruit. As someone who worked with the FBI during that initial desperate search, I witnessed the frustration firsthand. Leads came and went like smoke, dissipating before they could offer any real hope. The trail grew cold, then frozen. For nearly 2 decades, 18 agonizing years, the case remained unsolved. It was a wound that never healed, a question that haunted everyone involved. The girl was simply gone. Then, in 2009, the impossible happened. She reappeared, not through a triumphant rescue operation, but through a chilling, almost accidental chance encounter. After 18 years of unimaginable captivity, she surfaced during a routine parole meeting. The circumstances were mundane, yet the revelation was anything but. Her captors were identified as Philip Garrido and his wife, Nancy. Their secluded compound in Antioch, California, had been her prison. It was a place hidden in plain sight, a fortress of depravity. She had been held in sheds and tents, makeshift structures behind their house. Her existence was one of absolute isolation, cut off entirely from the outside world. For years, she was subjected to relentless sexual abuse and rape, a torment that defies comprehension. By the age of 18, she had borne 2 daughters, children of her captor. The Garrido compound was meticulously designed for concealment, a twisted testament to their depravity. High fencing and aggressive guard dogs ensured no one could approach unnoticed. The sheds themselves were soundproofed, silencing any cries for help. Investigators later found handcuffs and children's toys, chillingly buried under leaves. These were not just objects. They were artifacts of a stolen life, a childhood denied. Her identity was systematically stripped away. She was forced to adopt the name Alyssa, a new identity imposed by her tormentors. In her initial interview with authorities, she did not call herself JC. The name had been erased from her consciousness. It was only later, in a moment of profound vulnerability, that she whispered her real name, JC. The truth finally began to emerge from the depths of her trauma. The impact on her daughters was devastating. They were denied a normal childhood, deprived of education and any meaningful social interaction. They had never been to school, never experienced the simple joy of a birthday party. Yet within JC, there was an unfathomable strength. Despite the years of abuse, her protective instinct for her children remained paramount. She shielded them, creating a semblance of normalcy within their horrific reality. When Garrido was finally arrested, she refused to run. She stayed, facing her tormentor with a quiet resolve. She attended every single hearing, a silent, powerful presence in the courtroom. Her testimony was heartbreaking, yet delivered with an unwavering determination. It was a voice that had been silenced for years, now speaking truth to power. Today, JC runs a foundation, helping other victims recover. She is a phoenix, truly rising from the ashes of her past. Her story is a beacon of hope, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. The psychological toll of such prolonged captivity is immense, a labyrinth of trauma. Victims often develop complex post-traumatic stress disorder, a condition that reshapes their entire being. The world outside the prison walls can feel alien, overwhelming. The concept of Stockholm Syndrome is often discussed in these cases, a controversial but relevant theory. It describes a psychological phenomenon where hostages develop a bond with their captors. This bond is a survival mechanism, a desperate attempt to cope with an inescapable situation. JC's case, however, challenges simplistic interpretations of this syndrome. Her actions, particularly her protective instincts towards her children, demonstrate a deeper, more nuanced psychological landscape. Her resilience was not a product of bonding, but of an innate will to survive and protect. The process of reintegration into society is fraught with challenges. The world has moved on, but the victim's internal clock stopped the day they were taken. Trust is shattered, and the simplest interactions can feel like insurmountable hurdles. Therapy becomes a lifeline, a slow, arduous path towards healing. It involves confronting the past, processing the trauma, and rebuilding a sense of self. It is a journey that never truly ends, but one that can lead to profound growth. Philip Garrido was a registered sex offender, a fact that makes his ability to abduct and hold a child for so long even more infuriating. His criminal history was a red flag, yet it failed to prevent this prolonged horror. His wife, Nancy, was an accomplice, complicit in every act of abuse and confinement. Her role was crucial in maintaining the illusion of normalcy and control within the compound. She facilitated the abuse, participated in the deception, and actively helped to keep JC and her daughters imprisoned. Their motivations remain a chilling study in human depravity. Garrido claimed to have found God, using his twisted religious delusions to justify his actions. He believed he was on a divine mission, a narrative that allowed him to rationalize unspeakable acts. This self-deception is a common thread in the psychology of offenders. Nancy, on the other hand, seemed to operate out of a combination of fear, manipulation, and perhaps a warped sense of loyalty. Her complicity highlights the complex dynamics within abusive relationships, even for the abuser's partner. Their combined pathology created a perfect storm of terror. Their capture and subsequent conviction brought a measure of justice, but it could never erase the years of suffering. Philip Garrido received a sentence of 431 years to life, and Nancy Garrido was sentenced to 110 years to life. Their imprisonment ensures they can never harm another. The initial investigation, though ultimately unsuccessful in locating JC, was not without effort. Law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, poured resources into the search. The frustration of a cold case weighs heavily on investigators. The parole officers who encountered JC and the Garridos played an unwitting but crucial role in her discovery. Their vigilance, their adherence to protocol, led to the unraveling of the Garridos' dark secret. It was a moment of serendipity, a crack in the facade. The public's role in these cases is often underestimated. The initial outpouring of support, the continued awareness campaigns, keep hope alive. Every missing person poster, every news report, contributes to the collective memory. The media, too, plays a vital role in disseminating information and maintaining public interest. While sometimes criticized, responsible reporting can be instrumental in bringing cold cases back into the spotlight. It ensures that victims are not forgotten. Finally, the support systems that emerge after such a trauma are invaluable. Therapists, victim advocates, and support groups provide the framework for healing. They are the unseen heroes, guiding survivors through the darkest chapters of their lives. The JC Dugard case offers profound lessons for law enforcement. It underscores the critical importance of interagency communication and the need for continuous review of cold cases. No case should ever be truly closed. For psychology students, this case is a stark illustration of extreme trauma and resilience. It provides a real-world example of the long-term effects of abuse and the incredible capacity of the human mind to adapt and survive. It challenges simplistic notions of victimhood. From a societal perspective, it highlights the need for vigilance and community awareness. We must be attuned to the signs of abuse, even in seemingly normal environments. The girl in the shed was hidden in plain sight for years. The case also emphasizes the importance of robust support systems for victims of abduction and long-term abuse. Healing is a lifelong process, requiring sustained resources and understanding. We must not abandon survivors once the headlines fade. Ultimately, JC Dugard's story is a testament to the indomitable human spirit. It is a narrative of survival, of a will to live and thrive against unimaginable odds. Her journey from victim to advocate is an inspiration. Her resilience reminds us that even in the deepest darkness, hope can endure. It is a powerful message for anyone facing adversity, a beacon of strength in the face of overwhelming despair. The girl in the shed found her way back into the light,